Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Keegan, and welcome back to episode 3 of season 2021 of Turnover the Tape. As I mentioned before, my name is Keegan, and with me today, as always, is Matt. How are you today, Matt?
Yeah, pretty good. Can't complain.
Excellent, excellent. Can you feel that buzz in the air, Matt? AFL
Season
season's almost
starting.
here. Yeah, I can't. It's been way too long since I've seen a Suns game, so I'm really looking forward to this weekend. Before we sort of talk about the game coming up this weekend, though, we thought it might be a good idea to give our 2021 fixture prediction. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to quickly fly through all the games, maybe even do 10 seconds on each game if we feel like it. Tally up our wins and our losses and our draws if we're feeling extra gutsy. And then after that, we'll tally them up, see where we get and see how we think the season's going to go. And then probably at the end of the season, we can look back at how silly or how astute our picks were. And we can hold it over the other person about it all. Anyway, so 23 rounds, 22 games, one bye in the middle. We'll stop every 5 games and talk about how many wins and how many losses and how we were looking as the season moves on. Are you ready to go, Matt?
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right. Round 1, Sunday, March 21st. West Coast hosts the Suns at Optus Stadium. What are you thinking?
Oh, I'm putting us down for a solid L here. Big L.
Yeah, so we'll talk about this game probably a bit more at the end. But yeah, just to quickly go over it, I reckon we lose this one as well. I reckon it'll be close, but I don't think we'll get over the line. So both Matt and I thinking that's a loss. Round 2, Saturday, March 27th. The Suns host North Melbourne at Metricon. Matt, what do you think about this one?
Hopefully, 100-point banger. We just towel them up, win to the tune of 100 points, move on.
So a nice percentage booster. I also think we'll win that one. I think that will also be a pretty good percentage booster for us. I don't think North Melbourne are much chop this year. And then the third round, Friday, April 2, we play the other wooden spoon favourite and we go to the Crows to play at Adelaide Oval on Good Friday.
I'm a little bit more pensive about this. Adelaide showed enough improvement late last year to suggest they're not going to be a total pushover. We simply have to win this one. So I'll put us down for a win. But the Suns of old, that's the sort of game they might cough up.
Yeah, I think I've also just finished watching the Making Your Mark documentary. And it really made me like the Crows, and I really don't like liking the Crows. So I think I want the Suns to win. I think Nix is on the right track with them. From what I saw anyway, of the little I saw on the documentary, I thought he handles himself quite well. So I hope they do better this year, but not at our expense. So I hope we win that one. 4th round, Suns play on Saturday, April 10. The Suns play Carlton at Metricon Stadium.
It's tough. This is certainly one of those games where it would be a dream scenario if the Gold Coast could win and really start to make life uncomfortable for David Teague and his tenureship over Carlton, especially given how many Suns players have sort of ended up there. This would be a good one to win. I don't think we win it, but it would be nice if we did.
All right. So you think killing a loss?
Yeah.
It's one of those ones that's a 50-50. And because it's a bit of a 50-50, because the Suns are at home, I'm willing to go for us. If it was in Melbourne, I'd 100% go for Carlton. But I think at Metricon, I think I'm going to give us the win, just so we can differentiate a bit as well. We don't end up with this exact same at the end. Round 5, this will be my first game I get to see live. This will be the Western Bulldogs and playing the Suns at Marvel Stadium on April 17.
I think the Doggies are going to be too strong for us. I really want the Doggies to have a good year, to be perfectly honest. They have such a stacked midfield. I don't know that we keep up with them, especially given it's going to be down in Melbourne. I can't see us winning this. Hopefully we keep with them for quite a while, because this could be a really good measuring stick type game for the Suns. If they do well, it might make me a bit more optimistic about the rest of the season.
Yeah, I also think it's probably going to be a loss as well. I reckon Bont will get 30 and kick 3 goals or some ridiculous number like that. Good for my super coach team, probably not so good for us, the Suns in general. So I reckon the Bulldogs will win at Marvel. So that's 5 rounds down. Matt, you've currently got us at 2 and 3. I've got us at 3 and 2. How would you feel if your predictions 100% happened and we got to round 5 with a 2 and 3 record?
It would be as I expected. I wouldn't be like bullish on the Suns. And it also depend on what the losses were like. So imagine it was like a 7-point loss to West Coast and maybe a 2-goal loss to the Western Bulldogs. I might be pretty optimistic about what's happening, but I have a horrible feeling we'll end up getting pantsed by 50 points by West Coast, and we could get belted by Bulldogs. And if that happens, and maybe we only just get over the line against North Melbourne or something like that, I might be a bit more pessimistic.
Fair enough. I think there'll be a few spankings this year, not necessarily for the Suns. I think in general, with the way the game's looking at the moment, how more open it is, with the rule changes and the man on the mark and them trying to open the game up a bit more, I think there's going to be a lot more beltings this year. I don't think the Suns are going to counter in the first 5 rounds. West Coast are notoriously poor starters to the season, so I don't think we're going to get belted there. The Bulldogs might do a bit of a number on us if their midfield gets on us early. But the thing with the Bulldogs is they've got no one really. Like Norton, their forward line is questionable at times. Norton's pretty poor. Bruce hasn't been great. They've got Ugle Hagen, but I don't know if he's going to be playing round 1. And their back line isn't amazing, and Easton Wood's out at the moment. So who knows there. Yes, Matt?
The problem I have, though, is that you saw what happened in that match against the Lions last week. As soon as the midfield gets overrun, I don't know that our defense stands tall enough for long enough. So even if they don't have the quality up forward, they'll probably just win by swarm, you know?
No, that all makes sense. I agree with you there for sure. All right. So after 5 rounds, you have the Suns at 2 and 3. I have the Suns at 3 and 2. All right, round 6. We have the Swans at home at Metricon.
So I'm expecting Sydney to go up the ladder a little bit this year. Maybe not play finals, but I think our trajectory is in front of theirs, and given it's a home game, I think we win. So I'm bullish about this one.
I think it's the same thing I had with Carlton. I think it's probably a win for us just because it is at home. If it was in Sydney, I'd definitely be tipping Sydney. I think we're on the similar trajectories to Sydney. I think our slope up also matches theirs. And I think on the Gold Coast, we should get it done. Also, Buddy, if he's available or not, is also a big question mark. If he's available, could be an issue, but who knows? So I think I'm going to give them the win there anyway. Round 7, we have Collingwood at the MCG.
Oh man, this is the ultimate crystal ball game, this one. Like, if you can correctly predict what's going to happen in this game, you're basically like playing 5D chess as far as I'm concerned. Like, who knows what Collingwood will be like this year, and 7 rounds deep, who knows whether they've put it together. I'd like to think that they're going to have a bad year. That's the feel that I get. And so on that evidence alone, and the fact that they'll probably jag a win somewhere and not make a win somewhere else, it probably all balances out. I'm actually going to chalk them in for a win here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, very. Yep.
Yeah, I think they're going to. Yeah, I think they're falling off here.
All right, fair enough. I'm actually going to go the opposite way. I'm usually the eternal optimist. I'm actually going to be the pessimist here, and I'll say we lose to Collingwood. And the only reason it is because we do not play the MCG well. And I've watched us play the MCG a handful of times now, and every time we go there, we struggle really, really badly. I don't know, something about the ground really puts the Suns off. Luckily, they don't have to play there that often because we always get shafted to the smaller ground. So not something we have to deal with a hell of a lot. But yeah, I think that's probably a loss. I think Collingwood's defense is very, very good, and their midfield, if they're all fit, are very, very good. Their forward line's questionable, but I think they still have enough quality. But again, that's probably a lot closer. That could be a potential flip of the coin. Again, if that was on the Gold Coast, I would definitely be tipping the Suns. All right, round 8, we have St Kilda at home.
Um, I know that there've been a few people fairly bullish on St Kilda, thinking they might even make the four. I don't think they're going to be that good, but I think they'll still be good enough to get over the top of us, even at Metricon. So I think we lose this one.
Yep, I'm also of the same thought as well. I think St Kilda are probably a bridge too far at the moment. We did have a close game with them last year, but I think Brad Crouch is a good addition for them. They're playing for the now. They're recruiting for the now. When you think of they've brought the likes of Hanbury, Brad Hill, Brad Crouch in. They're playing for the now. They're playing to get to the four and get as close to a premiership now as possible. So they will. I think they're going to be too good for us on this.
You know what we have to do though?
What do we?
You know what we have to do? We have to give them Raw Pines passes. Just let them go tee off on the golf course for as long as they like before match day.
Yeah, make sure Max King's in the vicinity of the golf course and we can see if we can bob one on his head. To be fair, I think a few St Kilda players might need to get hit on the head with golf balls before we're any amazing chance in that game, but who knows? Creative way to get a concussion as well. Soon you'll see all the AFL players walking around golf courses with like bike helmets on their heads or something like that. All right, round 9, we've got the Lions at Metricon.
Yeah, Q clash on my birthday. Gotta love it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think we get dumpstered. To be honest, I don't think it'll be as close as the practice match was. I honestly think the Lions put the Q in the rack for portions of it. I think we lose this one probably by 10 goals if Brisbane are serious this year.
Yeah, this is probably the first game that I'm like warning flags about. You think about the Suns, round 9 when we start to sort of tire out a little bit because we're great starters to the season, then we sort of tire as the season goes on. This could be the first game that's like there's alarm bells that I'm like, oh, this could get ugly. Who knows? They might encounter a lot of injuries and they might hit a form slump. They've got a few injuries at the moment. Rayner is done for the season. Charlie Gardner's out. They've got a few others as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I think the Lions still win. I don't think the optimist in me can even pick the Suns there. And then we go and our rough run continues and we have Geelong away in Geelong.
I mean, there's not really much to say about this one. We just lose.
Yeah, I think we just lose. I think this is another game that I'd be like warning lights are flashing because Geelong, like St Kilda, are playing for the here and now. They've recruited Isaac Smith. They've recruited Sean Higgins. Jeremy Cameron, the biggest one, of course. They're looking pretty menacing. So I think that is definitely going to be a loss, and you agree. And then the last game before the bye is we have got the Hawks, our home game in Townsville, in Darwin.
Okay. Geez, I didn't realize that. Look, we should still win. I think Hawks are going to be a bottom 4 side. I'm pretty sure by the end of the season, I'll be eating those words. I have this horrible feeling they'll just, spike up the ladder because,
it's Hawthorn.
Screw you, Matt. Yeah, basically. But right now, sitting pretty without any form guide, I think Suns win.
Yeah, I think the same as well. I think Hawthorn is still on the way down a little bit. I don't think they're going to bounce back straight away. There's talk of them playing possibly 3 debutants at the start of this round and start of round 1, which is pretty unheard of for a Hawks team. So I think they're still got a little bit to go down maybe this year, and then they might start bouncing back up. So I think we should get the job done if we're serious about improving this year. And then that takes us to round 12, which is the bye. So we've 11 games in. We're halfway through the season. Matt, you and I are on parity. We've both got 5 wins and 6 losses. How do you feel if we got to the bye 5 wins and 6 losses? How would you feel about that?
I mean, given the teams that we'll have played in the lead up to the bye, I mean, you look at the 4 weeks before Hawthorn, and it's Geelong, Brisbane, St Kilda, Collingwood, and Western Bulldogs a couple of weeks before that. Like it's a fairly stiff run if they're serious though, they'll compete and maybe even jag a win here or there. So I mean, I'm not overly disappointed with 5 and 6. I mean, obviously, I'd prefer a positive ledger, but I think some of our easier games do come in later in the season.
Look, if you were to say sit here right now and offer me 5 and 6 to start the year, I'd break your arm off. Honestly, we do have a run of pretty easy games there at the start. With North Melbourne and Crows being back-to-backs pretty handy. Swans in there as well. They're sort of down towards we are, and Hawthorn are around where we are as well. So I think 5 and 6 is probably a good record for us to head into the bye, refresh and rejuvenate, and then hit the second half of the season hard and prove that we're not a half season team or even a quarter season team. When we win the first 5 or 6 rounds, we're really good, and then we fall off a cliff. So hopefully that's something I want to see improve this year, is not falling out at this point of the season. We get to June. I don't want to see the Suns just wilt in June, July, August. I want to see us compete all the way through the season. All right. So moving on. After the bye, we go to Optus Stadium to play the Fremantle Dockers. We got 2 trips to Optus. We got 2 trips to Perth.
Yeah.
What an absolute
I mean, we didn't have to do much last year, to be fair.
No, I know. But still, 2 trips to Perth, not good. Anyway, Matt, thoughts on Fremantle away?
Well, I did my ladder for what I think all the AFL teams will place, and I was struggling with whether I put Fremantle in the 8. I ended up putting him in 9th, but I think they'll be a better side than us. I know we beat them last year, but over there, I really can't chalk us up for a win.
No, neither. I think they're a good team. I think they're going to be, if I was to pick, if you would have asked me for like the big riser that isn't like the other 17 teams, who will be the big riser? I think it will be Fremantle. I think their defense is really, really good. You've got an absolute superstar in the midfield. You think of Fife, who can also go forward and kick a bunch of goals. You got Walters as well, it's a good player. The only thing with Fremantle is their forward line can be a little bit suspect. No Rory Lobb either, injured. So I still don't think we win, but this isn't one that I'm worried that we're going to get blown out of the water. This will be a close enough game. The next game, however, is one we could definitely be blown out of the water. We've got the round 14. We've got Port Adelaide at home.
I don't know if we'll get blown out of the water by this stage. I'm hoping that we're building into the season and hopefully playing a full season rather than a half season or a quarter season like you alluded to. We still lose against Port Adelaide. They'll be thereabouts. They'll probably be top 4 this year. But yeah, we definitely don't win. I don't think we get smacked. I'm feeling good about that game.
All right. Yeah, Port Adelaide are a lot of people's tips to win the premiership this year. And they've got absolute stars all over the park. Not much more to say, really. I think they win, and unfortunately, I think this is one game we could get taken apart. But fingers crossed that doesn't happen, especially at a home game. It's always like I'm not happy with it, but I can sort of understand when we get ripped apart when we're away. But at home, you should never be sort of getting done by 10 goals. All right, round 15. We got North Melbourne again, but this time we are playing in Tasmania.
Hopefully we could play them on the moon and still beat them by 100 points this year. So I'm chalking us up for a win.
Yeah, I will also chalk us up for a win. I think we've said everything about North Melbourne the first game we played against them. We should win if we're being any good.
Watch us lose both of them now.
Yeah, I know. I think North Melbourne, and this is putting more of a moz on it, I think North Melbourne are first-year expansion team bad this year. I think they're a bunch of skinny young kids that are going to have a crack. But I think about this time of the season, around 15, they'll suffer what the Suns usually suffer, and that is fatigue. And hopefully they suffer more fatigue than us at this point, and we can still get the win. Round 16, another great game. Tigers at home at Metricon.
Is there anything really to say? I mean, you said Port Adelaide were people's tips for the premiership. It's hard to bet against the trend. I mean, Richmond will be probably there at the big dance. Yeah, we don't win this. We don't
No.
need to talk much about it.
No, Richmond are too good. Every time I watch Richmond and I see Tom Lynch on the screen, my fist sort of shakes a bit as I clench it in anger. So yeah, Richmond are too good. No need really to elaborate on it much more. Round 17, GWS in Sydney.
GWS are also a pretty unknown commodity this year. You read different articles, and in the space of 30 minutes, someone will have convinced you they'll make the 8, and someone will have convinced you they'll probably come 12th. I still don't think we beat them. I think this will be an interesting game, though. Oh man, I hope we do beat them, though. That would be great. But no, not a win for me.
All right, I'll go against the trend. I'll say it's a win. I think it's more because the fact that I've watched them making their mark documentary, and GWS look like an absolute rabble behind the scenes. Like even my dear wife was sitting next to me watching this, and she's just like, when Leon Cameron's speaking, she's like, they're not even looking at him. So if my wife, who knows very little about AFL, can see that clearly GWS isn't buying into what he's selling, then I think that we are we're a good chance of winning this game, and I'll back us in for this one because I just don't think the Giants are going to go anywhere this year. I think the Giants are actually going to really struggle. They've lost a lot of players. They've got a lot of talent still. Like their midfield's still quite good. Like Taranto, Green, you got Whitfield, Caniglio, even though he got dropped last year, and he was the most. Side note, also not an inspiring leader as a captain of a football club. Like, watch the first episode and watch him talk about carving a box, and I'm just going to leave it there because it is the most awkward 2 minutes that you'll ever sit through of TV this year. So I think I'm going to give us the win that one. I think we're a decent chance of winning. All right. Moving on. We have then got round 18. We've got the Bulldogs at home.
We've been pretty good in this fixture, I would say, over time.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we win, but it's one of those weird games that the Suns could jag. Maybe more likely if it was happening, round 7 rather than how deep are we now? We must be getting like round 15. It's 18. Yeah, geez. I don't know. I don't think we get blown off the park given it's at home, but I can't see us winning.
Yeah, no, I can't give us the GWS game and then give us the Bulldogs game as well. I think, we've said the Bulldogs, they'll be thereabouts for sort of top 4, top 6 this year. So I think they win. All right, moving on to round 19, we have got Melbourne at home. We've got 2 home games in a row.
I think we win this game. I'm really, really would be pessimistic if I was a Demons supporter. Like Simon Goodwin must be having some sleepless nights ahead of this season, just given the amount of expectation. And traditionally, we've been pretty good in this fixture, ignoring heartbreaking losses that have come along the way. I mean, conceding 7 points in 20 seconds still going to haunt forever, I think.
Yeah, that loss was that last year? Was that the year before?
I think it might have been the year before.
Anyway, the funniest thing about that game is I was sitting here watching it with my friend Steve, or our friend Steve, sitting there on the couch watching it. And I think Holman kicked a goal to put us 7 points up with 20 seconds to go or something like that.
Yeah.
And, it might have been 6 points up anyway. So he's gone up, he's gone up and he's gone, we can't lose this. And I'm like, oh no, what have you done? And then we concede a goal and then we concede a behind. And then pretty much, I think Steve, I might be remembering a bit differently, but pretty much Steve stood up and just walked out of my apartment and went home at that point. He may have said goodbye. I can't recall, but he was pretty angry at that point. But I agree. Long story short, I think we beat Melbourne here.
Yeah.
I don't think they're much chop this year or any year really. I think that season they finished in like the preliminary finals was an aberration. I think their range is about 9 to 12 or 13. And I think that's them.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have their range a bit wider, probably anywhere between 5th and last, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. On the home stretch, round 20, we have got the Lions away. Do I just chalk this down to a loss? Is this just a loss?
Yeah, we don't need to spend much time on that one. Bloody hell.
Yeah, that's a rough one. All right. Then we have got Carlton away at Marvel Stadium.
Yeah. This is tough because imagine if by this stage Carlton are knocked out or really not in a good way in terms of the finals race. This could be a game that we pick off. I suspect it will all come down to how much pressure Carlton are under. And if we get a fast start, they could fold. We'll probably have nothing to lose by this stage or be like in the mathematical chance of making the finals that everyone loves to talk about. We don't win, but it's one that you could. It's like you wouldn't say we're definitely going to win. You'd put like an odds. I'd be giving us like a 30% chance to cause a boil over.
Yeah, by this point, round 21, a lot of the teams that have been sorted into playing finals, not playing finals. And at this point, Carlton could be imploding upon themselves. If Carlton don't make finals this year, I have a lot of confidence that Patrick Cripps might not be there next year. I don't know anything, by the way. This is just me having a feeling. But if Carlton don't make finals again, Cripps is going to go. And if they're nowhere near finals, come round 21, and that's looking more and more likely, and he hasn't re-signed, then I feel like the implosion could be on. And no team implodes like Carlton. Even the Suns don't implode like Carlton. So I'm going to tip us for a loss because I still think Carlton away are probably going to be better than us. But I don't think we're that far away there.
Yeah.
All right. We have got 2 games left. We have got, firstly, the first time playing them this year in round 22. We got the Bombers at home.
I think we win. I have a sinking suspicion that Essendon are in for a year of hurt. I don't really want to wish that upon a first/second year coach, question mark. But yeah, I'm fairly optimistic about this fixture. I reckon we actually match up pretty well against them. No Smoke and Joe up forward.
No.
Yeah, I think we win.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we should have won last year. Like, I think the fact that we drew with them was bad. We should have won. They got lucky. We inexperienced. Hopefully we learn from that inexperience. So I think we win. I think we win that. And it'll be a good way to sort of sign out the year. Like, at this point, looking at our records, wins and losses, neither of us think the Suns are playing finals, which is probably fair enough. All right. And last one, round 23, we've got the Swans away. This could be the biggest dead rubber game ever. This will be, now, I'm tipping it now, this will be Sunday, twilight, before the finals. How do you sign out? How do you sign out a year? Oh, we got the Suns and we've got the Swans and the Suns at the SCG. No, nobody will care. There will be nobody there to watch. Nobody will be watching on television. It will be an absolute snooze fest. But we still got to tip it. Who do you think will win?
I think Gold Coast will be in front of Sydney this year, so I'm going to tip us for the win, even away. I think we'll be too good.
All right. I think we'll win as well. I still think we're in front of Sydney. Some people think Sydney are going to improve this year, and they may well do. But I think we've got to back them in. They've beaten the Swans at the SCG before. I remember that game. Stephen May had a great game. Where's he playing these days? So I'll back us in for a win as well. All right. So we are through all 22 rounds. We've flown through them pretty quickly. So you, Matt, you have us down for 9 wins and 13 losses.
Okay.
I have the Suns down for 10 wins and 12 losses. So pretty close.
Yeah.
So we're pretty even. To be fair, I'd take either result, like 9-13, 10-12. I think that's like for me, 10-12 would be a good year, especially if we get 5 and 6. So basically that just means we've got 5 and 6 before the bye, 5 and 6 after the bye.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty happy with that. If we go 10 and 12, we would probably finish around 10th or 11th, depending on how good our percentage is. Before we finish up this, what do you think our percentage will be at the end of the season? Give us a number.
Okay, so the one thing that we've got is that we do have a fair number of lower ranked teams to play twice. The fact that we get Lions twice every year kind of hurts at the moment, whilst they're good.
Yeah.
But we play West Coast, who could belt us real early. Port Adelaide, we play at home. There's like a couple of matches where we could be blown out if the fixture and venue were a bit different. And we came off a 90% percentage last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we were 90.3 or something.
Yeah, so there's no reason to think that we should fall back on that. The only argument might be longer quarters. Maybe we fall off a cliff quicker, more games.
Yep.
It might be harder to run it out. So maybe about the same, but I don't know, maybe like 85% if I'm being a bit more
85.
pessimistic.
Yeah, I think 90% is. I think 90% where we were this year. I think there were a few close games in there that we lost. I think we lost the Bulldogs by 4 points and Kilda by 3 points. Drew with Essendon when we shouldn't. So I think 90% would be a good percentage for us. And I think 10 and 12 or 9 and 13, I would probably take now if you offered me that for sure. So they are our fixture predictions. Let's quickly, very, very, very quickly in our last couple of minutes, let's talk about the West Coast game this week. And we're going to do this before each game, we're going to call out a player that's played for both the Suns and the opposition. Can you think of a player that's played for both the Suns and the opposition this week, Matt? I've got
Hickey.
one. Yeah, Tom Hickey. So we're playing for the Tom Hickey Cup. So we're playing for the Tom Hickey Cup. Just a few things to sort of go over. Elliot Yeo and Luke Shuey are both out for West Coast. Big outs of their midfield. Do you have any quick thoughts about this game before we wrap up?
A lot of the Suns games are going to be determined by how dominant our midfield is and how much protection the midfield are able to offer our defense. This is a total game of unknowns because we now are basically at full strength against an Eagles side that have a fairly strong midfield, even with their outs. I don't think we'll get blown off the park. Like you said, West Coast are notoriously slow starters. I don't see us winning. But I'm hoping it's less than, say, a 5-goal belting. It'd be nice if the margin was 3 goals, but that might even be a bit optimistic.
Yeah. I just thought of another player it could be also the Matt Rosa Cup. That was just another one that flipped into my head just then. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty close. I think it will be within 4 goals either way, but I do think it's probably going to be about a 20-point win to West Coast if I was to write my tip down now. However, we're always optimists here, and we always think the Suns are going to win. But the realist in me says West Coast might win. Lastly, 2 sort of selection dilemmas that are probably going to happen this round, and I just want you to get your quick opinion on them. Who would you pick out of Harbrow and Lemons for that back pocket spot?
You see, this is one of those things where I just don't have enough of an inside lane onto how good Harbrow is at organising the defence, how much his presence and sort of game day experience actually helps with the broader group. That's just some intangible that you don't see on a stat sheet. Lemons is obviously a bit quicker, and I think despite some of my frustrations with him earlier in his career, I think could become a half decent player. I don't know. That's a tough one. The part of me wants to go with youth, but then the other part of me also doesn't want to discount those intangibles. I'd probably stick with Harbrow.
Okay.
To be honest.
I'd probably go Lemons. I just think Harbrow's decision-making over the past few years has sort of fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
I think Lemons provides that speed and that tackling pressure that we probably need in the defence as well. He played well against Charlie Cameron from all reports in that non-televised practice game. We'll probably need it this week against sort of I can't even think of some West Coast small forwards, but they exist. And we need that sort of that small tackling lockdown defender. And the last one matchup would be Darcy Mcpherson versus Will Brody. Who would you pick?
I think this is a no contest. I think you got to pick Will Brody, to be honest.
I agree.
He looks like D-Mac, and he does everything a little bit better than D-Mac.
Yeah, I think I think Brody's form in the preseason is undeniable. I don't think he can play like that, the way and the form that he showed over the preseason. And you pick Mcpherson, who has, from what I saw, had a pretty poor preseason. I don't think you can pick Mcpherson over Brody. I think Brody does have to get the nod, at least initially. Like, Brody might have a few quiet games early up and then get taken out. But I think for round one, I think you've got to pick Brody based off his preseason form. And that will bring us to the end of episode 3 of Turnover the Tape. We've gone through our fixture predictions. We've talked about the West Coast Suns game coming up. Let us know in the comments below, if you're listening on YouTube, what you think the tip will be this week. And as always, guys, thank you for listening. And thank you to Matt for joining me again.
Yeah, no problem.
We will be back next week to talk about all the fallout from the West Coast game and looking forward to our first game against North Melbourne. Thank you and bye-bye.
See ya.